Stepdad chose Baddies over me. I found a job, so I moved into a flat with my friend and lived there for almost 1 year. I started to look into places closer to my work as it was almost 2 hours of commute, which honestly sucked. I told my flatmate that I am looking into something closer to work, and within a few weeks one of our friends was living with us. I wasn't on the lease, and finding a flat was quite challenging as a single male, so I called Stepdad and asked if he does not know about someone who's renting. He proposed that I move into the flat he is living in and I can stay at his house as long as I want, so I did. Upon moving there I found out that it was not his flat but his colleague from work. Luckily the guy was super chill. I was paying rent, utilities and food. After a few months, my stepdad came to me and said that I have to move out so that he can not bring baddies, not just some chick but people whom he paid for, into the flat as I am there. During my stay there he was getting his son, my half-bro, every second weekend as his baby mama kicked him out of the flat, as I had quite a lot of colleagues and an awesome boss, and luckily one of the colleagues' mates was looking for a flatmate. I moved out a few weeks afterwards saying, if baddies are more important to you than your son, this is the last time we speak. I went low contact with stepdad, and after a few months he started blowing my phone, so I just put him into block as my sister did a few years before me. Hold and behold, his side of the family started blowing my phone and social media that I should pick up his phone and spoke with him, except my uncle, his brother, and his wife. They have 2 boys and those sneaky little beggars love me for some reason. I reply to his sister that he has no idea what happened and I strongly suggest that she leave it be. Yet she ignored my suggestion and doubled down using her mom to do the same, so I cut them off as well. All was quiet for some time, but as 2020 rolled out of the window I got a call from my sis that stepdad showed up unannounced at her work. She lives and works 150 kilometers from the capital city, and demanded that she apologize for cutting him from her life. As you can imagine, my sis ripped him a new one and sent him packing afterwards. She called me up and told me what happened. I was flabbergasted to say the least. I was working in the corp office of one of the known giant internet-based enterprises selling basically anything. I had gut feeling that he would try to show up at my work as well as he was working in public transportation, and it's possible that he saw me getting out or and it stopped really close to my work, and yep, it happened. One lovely day I got call from reception that someone come to see me and if I could go down. I asked who it was and they said it's stepdad, so I just laughed and told them that I don't want to have anything to do with him and he is bothering them to call the police. At that time I had a view of the entrance and I could see how pissed and angry he was, and I just laughed. Stepdad waited for 2 hours for me to get off work, but it sucked to be him. I was working for another 5 hours, so that wasn't happening. During the time as I stated above, I was in contact with my uncle and I was spending some quality time with them and boys during a few days over the years. After a few years I landed a new position in the company and was about to relocate when I bumped into his ex. I was always on good terms with her and we just started chatting. He told me that he started dating a lady 15 years older than him and they are planning to buy a house and all that. I just laughed as I knew I would be quite a distance from them. After moving and spending half year in a new city, I moved to the same city as my sister lived in. I had to go on a business trip abroad for 3 weeks. During those 3 weeks I wrote to my cousin and asked him if he know if stepdad would be at his mom's place, as I decided that the only victim who's suffering from this is my grandma, who does not deserve that. He told me that stepdad is working whole week including weekends, so on my way back I decided to surprise visit my grandma and his sister as she lives with her. I showed up unannounced as my cousin didn't spill the beans of my plans. Grandma was super happy that she saw me after well over 8 years and I had talked with my aunt. I told her that I am willing to talk with her but she needs to stop putting her nose where it does not belong and keep it shut from stepdad, and she agreed. We talked, including grandma, for almost 8 hours and I had to leave. Fast forward to the beginning of 2023 where my uncle had his 50th birthday and I decided to surprise him with my presence at the party and a bottle of his favorite rum. I called his wife and asked if stepdad will be there and she told me that they are out of the country and she will keep my visit secret so as not to spoil the surprise for my uncle. I also checked with additional members of family from his side to make sure and it was true. I followed through and showed up at his birthday party and you could see how happy he was that I was there. He told me that stepdad tried multiple times to convince him to call me up for visit and stepdad would be waiting there to confront me, but uncle straight up told him to shove this idea up his butt as he didn't want to destroy our relationship that we because of his and his son's sake. During the party, the daughter of stepdad's soon-to-be wife showed up. I didn't know her and she did not know who I was. No, we are not related whatsoever as she is older than me. And as the party was going to end I took a bottle of rum and went to the garden. To my surprise she showed up and after half an hour we hooked up. In summer I took 3 weeks of vacation and decided that it's time to finally change my last name to my mom's maiden name as a big fat line from stepdad. Well, my auntie, uncle's wife, wasn't happy saying what grandpa would think, but I reminded her that he is long gone and his point of view would be irrelevant either way. Stepdad did not try to contact me nor my side of the family, which I am grateful for, and I feel like I am finally starting to live without needing to look behind my shoulder. Story 2. My mom has been physically and emotionally horrible my whole life, and to all 3 of her daughters. I'm the youngest. My oldest sister got away when she went to college, and now lives out of state. Middle sister ran away at 16, got emancipated, and now lives down the street from my parents. I moved out on my 18th birthday, because my mom threatened to call the cops on me if I left any earlier. All 3 of us have had a relationship with my parents to some extent after we left. I moved in with friends when still in high school, on my 18th birthday, and eventually moved away from my hometown, then out of state. Even then, I still had a relationship with my parents, but as all of us got older, learned more about how wrong her behavior is, had better lives with people who actually love us, etc., we've all been learning just how deprived and horrible our upbringing was. So, a few years ago my oldest sister stopped talking to my parents. My middle sister has always had the closest ties to them due to her living close, having kids, and them helping watch the kids. Now that the kids are old enough to not need babysitting, and my parents are aging and ailing, she takes care of them because she's a nurse, drives them to doctor appointments and stuff, but she doesn't take their shit anymore. They still treat her like crap sometimes, but she cuts them off and ignores them when they behave badly. As for me, a couple of things made me finally stop talking to them. One was a visit home where, as always, my dad belittled me and tried to make me feel, in my late 20s, like a stupid little girl who doesn't know anything. He did this in front of my then fiancé, now husband of over 10 years. It was validating to be able to show my partner the crap I grew up with, and also really effing sad. Then, maybe 6 years ago or so, I was posting on Facebook, for my friends only, about my mom hurting me as a kid, processing memories, etc. My friend group is very open-minded and forward-thinking, and has helped me so much to realize how much I was hurt, how wrong it is, and to heal me. It wasn't a public post or anything. And my mom isn't on Facebook. But my dad is, and he was so angry I would break your mother's heart like this and tell the whole world all these lies. They weren't lies, and it was only my close friends, and my mom wasn't even on Facebook. But he told her about the post, of course. It became suddenly clear to me that night that he loves my mother more than he loves any of his daughters. He never protected us, he never stopped her, he never spoke up for us the way he was now speaking up for her against my 100% true friends only Facebook post. So, heartbroken with the realization that he loved her more than his children, and always would, I went no contact. I've only been the better for it. They still occasionally text me happy birthday or Merry Christmas, though not every year. Eventually my mom got on Facebook and a friend requested me, I ignored it. And recently my mom started emailing me again. Around Thanksgiving she emailed for the first time in years, to claim that my grandmother was probably going to pass away soon, so I had better come visit soon, as this would likely be her last Christmas, her last New Year's, her last birthday, telling me grandma had had a bad fall, and wasn't recovering. She also mentioned that my other family members aren't getting any younger, implied that I might not even wish to see them again before they die. Essentially, if I didn't see them before they were gone, it was because I must not want to. Suspiciously, she didn't mention me seeing her or my dad before they passed away. She wanted me to believe this was a selfless email written out of pure love and concern for me and my other family members who might be gone at any moment, and nothing selfish with her at all, hoping that I would come visit grandma out of guilt, and they get to see me while I'm there. Meanwhile, my sister, the nurse, who is a caretaker for the entire family of aging folks, who lives only a couple of blocks away from them, and who I talk to on Discord and text hours every week, had never mentioned it. Turns out the fall was minor, and happened months ago, and my grandmother is fine, and no one else is near to pass away. Then around Christmas she emailed me a jazz cover of a Christmas song, knowing that jazz Christmas music is something we both love, a love I got from her. I didn't reply to either email. But, I am planning a trip home to see my family. In 2019 I had been planning a trip in summer 2020, but then COVID hit, so it got delayed until now. It has nothing to do with her email to me, but if she thinks it does, even better. So I will finally see my family, all my family except for her and my dad. I will be staying with my sister, right down the street. I will be mere blocks away. I will be there for a full 2 weeks, and I will not be seeing them. My local sister 100% supports this plan, too. She wishes she could detangle her life from theirs, but it's too complicated and they're too ailing and poor to get by without her. But we often joke about how much this will hurt them, and how much they deserve it. It's the only revenge I can reasonably get on them, to let them know they don't get access to me, and that I have so little love for them that I won't even see them when I have already paid to fly all the way out there and will be walking distance away. I hope it breaks their hearts like they have broken mine. They live in Washington, where Safeway is a common grocery store. I moved to Austin when I'm 19, and found that Randall's is a common grocery store in Texas, and wow, they look a lot like Safeway. Weird, I wonder if they're owned by the same company? Getting gas there for the first time, the pump asked for the Randall's Rewards phone number, so it occurred to me to try my parents' phone number. And it worked. $1.25 saved on my tank of gas, excellent. I'm 38 years old, I've been doing this since I was 19, 3 or 4 times a year I'll get gas at a Randall's and use all their rewards points. My mom can no longer drive, but my dad still can, so I'll stop when he stops driving. Update, so I went to visit my hometown in Washington, got to hang out with my sister and my niece for 9 amazing days, and I didn't see my parents. I also ended up not seeing any other family who live there, aside from my sister and her minor daughter. Between my last post and my visit, my sister and I talked a lot about a pedo uncle of ours, and how her boundaries about him had been violated too many times. She insisted he never be allowed around her kids alone. He approached her kids alone on purpose, and the family members he lived with didn't back her up or care at all. He's my dad's brother, and my dad didn't even do anything about it. And my sister and I also talked about how, when I came out to my entire family about stuff that happened between the uncle and me when I was a kid, there was a lot of bloviating about how mad they were at him, but nothing was done. He was still financially supported, allowed at family events, etc. And we also talked about how, when things happened between one of my sister's kids and this uncle, again, nothing was done. And all of this is after he was in jail in the 80s for things he did to his daughter. So, yeah, we're realizing as adults that the whole family has been enabling him and too forgiving of him, repeatedly, for decades. So, between my last post and my trip to see her, my sister sent the whole family a message stating that, having thought about it a lot, and considering the multiple times the uncle has done bad things, and how the family keeps supporting him, living with him, letting him be at family events, etc., my sister decided that she and her minor daughter will no longer be going to important family events where he will be, and won't be going to non-important ones at all. They all suddenly, after 40 years of supporting him and watching him hurt new young people, freaked out and cried, "Oh no. We're so sorry. We'll kick him out, if you want us to. We'll make him leave during family events, if you want us to. We're so sorry. And my sister and I read over their responses and realize the way everything is worded, they're setting it up so that this will all be done because she said to do it. The whole if you want us to. They will only do it if she specifically says kick him out if you ever want to see your grandchild again. So they have a scapegoat. Plus, they are only even offering this because, for the first time in their history, there's a consequence to them for supporting him. They only care because, finally, they are being affected. They never cared about how he ruined his daughter's life, or the effect he had on